Today's 18th of July, market opened with a gap, and after the initial move, market was actually stuck in the trend range, down 18 point at 3471. It's quite evident looking at the 5-minute charts. After the initial move, January stuck in a very tight trading range. Our immediate support is actually at this level here of 3459. Immediate resistance is actually at this pivot high here of 3509. Generally, from the 1326 SMA, markets actually uptrend remain intact, but we just have to be mindful of immediate overhead resistance, which was actually made in 2018. Now this resistance 3459 was actually cleared, and it's normal to expect a reactions, particularly after two wide range bar. Now let's take a look at the US markets. This is S&P 500. After a very directional move, we're experiencing a reversal bar. This is not unexpected. If you actually take a look, it has a gap, so this actually does indicate there is actually some bearishness on the short term. By and large, actually on the medium and long terms, the trend remain intact. Now we see weakness is actually in Nasdaq. If you take a look, you can see a bigger range, bearish bar here, and in the process it tests this upward trend line. On the daily charts, you can see actually it has a huge gap, and the fact that actually it broke below those trend lines, we may see further downward move, but by and large again the uptrend has remained intact. If you take a look at the NYSE, which represents the 2000 big cap stocks, markets generally are quite resilient and is broad-based. So the recent weakness is probably attributed to the tech sector. This is the 10-year Treasury yield. It's trading within the bearish channels and approaching the lower end of the channel, so we may expect a counter trend move. Now if there are still talks of interest rate cut in September, then we can see this continue to be weakened and may actually trade sideways rather than the counter trend. But whatever the case may be, at this point in time, the odds of a counter trend is really high. This is Brent crude. Managed to find support at this level here, but this is quite a significant support here, and it's important you hold. In the shorter terms, $86 appears to be a short-term cap. Back to our local markets. First, let's start with the banks. Now, DBS experienced short-term weakness, and the fact that it actually break below this level here is generally negative, and we may see even test this level here of $36. So on a shorter term basis, we may see further retracement. Now this is unlike OCBC. So if you take a look at OCBC, it's much more resilient, and it's actually trading inside bars. And I'd like to see take out this high here. This is a small deeper setup of 1538. UOB. Trade a series of bear bar, so it may have further retracements, but whatever the case, we'd like to see what happens. It may even go sideways. That would be a generally better. And we'd like to see whether it can take out this high here of 33.33. Singtel appears to be gravity defying and continue to actually make high. Despite the fact that we have a reversal bar today, we have very strong counter attack. If you look at the 1326 SMA, it is actually opening up, rising and diverging, so it indicates very strong trend. But we have to be careful that this is really overextended. If you take a look at the weekly charts, managed to actually bash through this resistance, and you have been trading a series of bull bar, and particularly the last 4 bars are actually quite huge. And notice the increasing daylight. The increasing daylights does suggest that it's pretty prone to retracement. So you have this position, it's important to lock in some profits and manage position closely. Set is also overextended on a very short-term basis, and right now we're beginning to see a pullback. Notice the daylight is quite huge. So at this point in time, we have a small deeper setup. Bar high here is at 335. SIA is inching up, and at this point in time we have a small deeper setup. Bar high here is at 714. Mentioned before, Yang Zijiang is overextended. I'd like to actually follow up discussion on that. So you can see over here, it rolled down, and after release of some news, it actually had this reaction here. That one bar is not going to change the trend. At best, it may continue to trade sideways. Now, I would like to see what happens if you can consolidate. That will be generally good, and I would like to see the volume actually dry up. So this is not tradable on the long and the short side. Samudara has weakened quite significantly. So you see a counter trend, you see a throwback here. Technically, it's a big dipper setup. 2-bar comeback low here is at 955. Now remember, $1 is a psychological resistance and was not able to actually close above that. Despite weak market sentiment today, we see strong move from Centaurian. After yesterday's doji, it managed to actually do a counter trend and counter attack rather, but the volume is actually not high. I'd like to actually look for a setup here, eventually take out this high here of 64 cents. Dynamic. After the gap up, generally I trade sideways, losing momentum, attempt to close the daylight. Series of sideways bar. This is a contraction setup. Bar high here is at 515. Now I prefer if the stock can continue to trade sideways with the narrow range, and that will be better. Broadway managed to continue to move up, make high, look for pullback, look for new setup. Again, this sometimes it's better to actually look at the weekly. Alright, so we like to look for setup from here. Again, 1326 are well placed, diverging. Bengguang has actually runs its course. Notice a very deep retracements. At best, you may have a couple of swing and stuck in the trading range. So the back is off on a short-term basis. Likewise for Mermaid, very severe sell down. And we have a very mild reaction. So this is actually quite negative. Breaking this low will be very negative. I'd like to see what happens.